Okay, I'm gonna get my thoughts on the run while walking again. I could be wrong about this, and it would take a much more scientific evaluation to really know for sure. But I'm going to speculate and make an educated speculation, or at least an experience-based speculation of my actual perception of my runs, that I think that I hold a better average pace, or at least am able to maintain a faster pace that I'm happier with for a long time if I just let myself stop and walk for a little bit when I need that early in the run. You know, and maybe it's just fulfilling the function of the warm-up that I really should do before I even run at all. But I really think that if I had tried to push through that wall that I hit really, really early, like after 1 minute of running, I could have kept running the whole time, but I would have kept running at a slow pace, and I would have felt, you know, like I was struggling. But because I let myself just slow down and walk, and then, you know, my body caught up and started oxygenating itself, my lungs, you know, started breathing deeper because I'm not at the point yet. Apparently I'm intentionally choosing to do that right off the bat. I only do it when my lungs are like, yeah, I need this. We need more oxygen. Come on, work harder. You know, and that's something to be said, I guess, in my opinion, for the fact that our bodies and minds and hearts and, you know, all parts of us do know what we need most of the time. And some of those responses that we kind of try to control, like, yes, maybe we can get better at controlling them, and I could get better at intentionally breathing deeper before I even start running. Those might be good things. But my body, it's kind of like you got to go all in one way or the other. Like, either you got to be intentional, so much so that you start breathing deep before the run even starts. And if you're gonna not fully embrace that method, you have to embrace the method of I'll just do what feels right. Because really, like, trying to start running without, I just had a thought, I might do the talking portion of my runs, like I might do the post-run talk before the run itself, because I think that the run, like, who wants to watch someone running for 5 minutes? But if you're watching for what the person is referring to in their post-run talk, i.e. what I'm referring to, because I'm the only person I know who's going to do it this way, it might be more interesting to watch the run itself. But anyways, if I were to start running and then hit a wall and be like, yeah, I'm just going to force myself through it, like mind over matter, it's already too late at that point to commit to the mind over matter mentality, because mind over matter would have been like, you know, that intentionality. By mind over matter, I really mean like having a very intentional, brain focused, brain directed, thought directed approach rather than body guided approach. And if I was really going to have that approach, I'd have to commit to it before the run even started by breathing deeper before my body starts telling me I need it. By the time I'm in the run and my body's telling me it doesn't have enough oxygen, it's already too late to switch to well, I'm just gonna, you know, use my brain to override what my body's telling me and say, no, just keep running, and start breathing deeper. So like at that point, if I even reach that point, I've already committed to the I'm going to listen to my body approach. And so at that point, I need to listen to my body saying, you need to stop running. And maybe that's an okay approach. Like, it seems like a failure because it's like, oh, I had to stop running after I started. But I didn't have to start running at that time. Like, I could have just started my run 10 minutes later, and none of that would have been running time at all. And if it wasn't running time at all, then I never would have had the potential to stop running during it. So stopping running isn't a failure because it never had to be running time in the first place. It's just an alternate method of warming up. Which is a really interesting point, because I was just listening to a training on emotional intelligence today. That ability to recognize your emotions and guide your emotions. Maybe not become emotionless, but become more aware of your emotions and not let them control you. Like, control your emotions instead of letting your emotions control you. And that just poses a question that's really interesting to me about balancing the legitimacy of our emotions, the legitimacy of our feelings, including the feeling that I need to walk instead of run, balancing that with the kind of intentionality that can maybe eventually give us greater control over those feelings. And to me, like, it's getting really dark. I don't think it really matters too much which one comes first. Like, whether the feeling comes first and guides our actions, or whether the action comes first that guides our feelings. If you've ever gone to a class on theology or ethics, especially Christian guided ethics or ethics in the Christian tradition, there's a lot of discussion on that topic. It's actually a really interesting topic. And a really interesting concept that you can guide your own emotions instead of having your emotions guide you. And in that realm, it boils down to the concept that love is a decision and not an emotion, and that the emotion follows the decision. And I actually think it can go both ways, that the decision can follow the emotion can follow the decision, because I think from every direction there are signals that are guiding us to the right outcomes. So if I choose the right action, that right action is going to guide me to the right, feeling about the action. And that decision might come from a logical thought process rather than being rooted in an emotion. But we also have those moments where we just spontaneously feel care or concern or empathy towards another person. And then we might have an action that's guided from those feelings. Because I think that for all of us at some level, there's a natural impulse, whether it's emotional or intellectual or physical, but there's some impulse towards the right things. And I think that all those different stimuli for humans are supposed to be aligned and working together. It's not, there's this idea that maybe the intellect is supposed to work in opposition to our emotions, to overcome emotions, because emotions are somehow a lower level of existence, of experience. And I don't think that's true. I think that we're capable on both the intellectual and the emotional level of being drawn into negative, harmful, hurtful behaviors, or embracing positive, kind, compassionate, constructive behaviors. So yeah, I know it's a lot to pull out of just running and getting tired and needing to walk, but what it boils down to is both how we feel and what we think can guide us to what we need to do. And instead of necessarily trying to overcome something that we're thinking or something that we're feeling. I think the better process is to ask why we're feeling or thinking that, and ask if it is possibly more legitimate than we recognize. And in many cases, it either is legitimate or is pointing us to a legitimate need that we have. So, that was a fun run. And I love thinking about these things. And I love that there's always something to think about. This field's just looking really appealing today. I really need to learn how to start off slow, but I'm just going to affirm the legitimacy of walking. I may have to affirm it some more because my ankle's hurting. And this time it's the front of my ankle. I'm used to the back part hurting, so this is new. Just a lot easier than undoing that. I think it's because my shoes got soaked yesterday and now I'm wearing different shoes and they just fit differently and feels like I'm definitely placing my foot differently to kind of adjust the way that the shoe slops around on my foot when I'm running. The ankles on these shoes seem different. I'm just gonna switch. I'm gonna turn this off and switch it around for the rest of the video. So I really liked these shoes when I first got them. They're Xero shoes. From what I've seen of the company, they'd probably send me new shoes if I really complained about it, because they kind of started falling apart pretty quickly. And I am rough on shoes and stuff, but they didn't meet my expectations for holding up well. It also seems like no matter what I do, no matter how tight I tie them, the ankle has always just wanted to be loose, which makes me kind of position my foot differently to keep it from, like, I don't think it really makes a difference how I run, but it makes me feel like I need to position my ankle differently to hold the shoes on. Oh, what's going on? Why is this thing going crazy? I'm holding it pretty steady. So again, this thing might be pretty good at image stabilization, like removing the shake from the camera. I wish that was the only thing it did. It's the extra adjustments that are bothering me, because I'm capable of making all those adjustments with my wrist and my hand. I don't want it to do anything else besides just remove the shake from the camera. Wow. Yeah, this thing is going wild. I really don't want to wear this. It's too warm.